Wow, it has been a week, hasn't it? So if you're one of our NEDs, you have been here for like 623 hours with us. It's been amazing though. We started off our week with our NED Strat Day, then we went into Empower, where we introduced you and our upper level leaders to Influence, which is part 2 of our leadership development program. And then we created a lot of excitement for sure. In addition to introducing you to Influence, our training spotlighted our You Grow coaching model, as well as our Pampered Chef leadership principles for personal growth and our 3 core cultures for organizational growth. And then we moved into ExecSem. We got to celebrate a lot of you and the success on your teams, all the success you had in 2020. And I know there is tons of excitement for even more success in 2021. We saw a lot of people declaring for that success. Super excited for how many people are going to be going to Croatia for sure. And then we had our speaker in our last segment, Anna Brown. Give it up in the chat for Anna Brown. Wasn't she amazing? I mean, it was absolutely awesome. An amazing, amazing leader. And she shared her insights into the nature of coaching, shared how to create a coaching culture in your organization. I'm just seeing it blow up on the side here. I have no doubt that some of you got some golden nuggets there, some information out of that presentation that is going to help you lead your teams to even higher levels of success and take your coaching to that next level and really opened your eyes to truly what coaching is all about. So before we go a go-go with your grow, I do have another special announcement that I'm going to need your help with. This is something that you're going to, I'd love you to help me out in the chat with. We actually have another birthday. Apparently, this is birthday week at Pampered Chef. Today is actually Navena's birthday. So panelists, if you would please come off your cams, put your cams on. We actually are going to do a little happy birthday, and share a little happy birthday celebration with Navena. So Amy, can you kick it off? We're going to try to not butcher this one. You got us queued up by chance, Amy? I think we do.
Give me 1 second, Jesse.
Okay. We're gonna try something different because from what I heard, the singing last time was great, but a little different.
Yeah. Sorry, Judy.
Enjoyed it. It was fun.
That's what she said. She's so sweet and kind.
I'm just share my birthday week with Navena.
Yes.
Yes. And Erica.
And Erica's birthday is today too. That's right.
Here's Erica.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, so much better, Jesse. So much better.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful. So that was a little less painful, right? A little less painful than hearing us all try to synchronize our singing. So happy birthday, Navena.
My heart is filled. Thank you, Jesse. This is a birthday dream come true to be able to, in such present, celebrate my birthday. It's a double birthday. It's my older son's birthday as well. I gifted myself with him 13 years ago. And to all our January birthday boys and girls, a happy, happy birthday to all of you. Judy, Erica, and all of you on the line who are celebrating your loved one's birthday. So hugs and kisses from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I don't know if we should be offended or not, guys, on the panel, because Claire Dolger said so much better. So I'm not sure how we should take that, but we'll put that aside. So now we're actually going to take it a step further into coaching, and Kathy Cocazella is going to actually moderate a live coaching session between National Executive Director Becky Ishee and one of her new executives, Sherry Baker. And I got to tell you, I actually heard a little bit of this, and oh my gosh, guys, Pen, paper, get ready. It is epic. This segment is going to be super powerful. You're going to want to really take notes. It's a first-hand look into the You Grow coaching model that we introduce everyone during Empower. Grab those notebooks, your You Grow coaching guide, those flashcards that came in your ExecSem goodie box. Let's get started. So Kathy, I'm turning it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Jesse. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's been such a great week. I loved the session this morning. And we are going to jump into this last session that really built on what Anna talked about earlier today. But first, I would love to hear, like, if you just had one, and I know there were many, but if you just had one aha moment, one takeaway that you're like, oh, this really hit me hard, what would that be? And I will tell you, I want to share mine when I heard her say this. When she said, if it's a skill issue, train first. And if it's a belief issue, coach first. So let me know what your top takeaway was, and we will be watching that in the chat. Let's see.
Kathy, I think we're actually going to the poll.
I'm sorry. Make sure you put it on the poll, guys. I said the chat, but I should have said the poll. Thank you for that. I was seeing answers coming up in the chat. Perfect. Now I see them coming up in the poll. Stop telling, start asking. All right? Let go of needing to be the expert. Ooh, that's a good one. Set expectations, asking. I see lots of asking versus telling. That's the hard part, right? Why am I talking? Yep. Important reminder. Yes, they are the expert. Yep. Love that one. Let them be the expert. Be aware of who they are as a person. Oh my gosh, you guys, these are so good. Stop giving them the answers. I think that's the dominant one that we got here. Very good. All right, I love seeing those. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. I know that all of you were invited to You Grow session on Wednesday at Empower. However, if you weren't able to see it, you're definitely going to want to go back and listen because we covered a lot more than what I'm going to cover with you right now. I'm just going to give you a refresher. I'm just going to review the steps of what this call looks like, and then you're going to hear it in action. Excuse me. So grab your workbooks because you're going to want to take notes in there as I walk through this model. And as we go, if you have questions, you can type them in the Q&A. Once you start to hear Sherry and Becky, you might have questions for them. So you can let me know who you're directing your question to. That would be great. And hopefully we'll have some time at the end to cover that. So let's go ahead and just start with you, which is for update. All right. So you guys, this is really important that you first want to hear what they have accomplished and really what they're most excited about. This really gets the call off to a positive start. And if this is like the very first call, maybe this is someone you haven't coached before, you're just going to have them share something they've accomplished lately, okay, or something that they're proud of. If this is an ongoing call, then you need to make sure that you're starting with an update of what they accomplished from the last call, from their call to action, all right? So you really want to praise them on their accomplishments and really listen to what they're most excited about. So that's it. That's update. G is for goal. And this is where you're really going to identify their broader business goals, their monthly goals, and a goal for the conversation, guys. This is what keeps it focused. So one of the reasons that you want to do this is you also want to look to see if they are on track with their larger goal. Like, it's what you're doing today impacting their monthly goals and their larger goals so that everything aligns. All right, so let's just break this down, these three goals. So first, you're finding out the big goal. Like, is it a trip? Is it a promotion? Is it earning $1,000 a month, right? Secondly, you're going to discuss their monthly sales and recruiting goals. Do those align to the big goal? And then you're going to establish a smaller goal for the coaching session. Like, what's the most important thing that they would like to solve or discuss? All right, so then we go to R. And R is for reality. And this is where you're really figuring out the reality of their business as it is right now. Knowing their reality really helps to guide the rest of the conversation. And the objective during this part of the conversation is to ask questions that help you identify what is really happening. All right, what are they doing to work toward that goal? And again, it's really important to start with what they are already doing. All right. So I know that a lot of us just want to jump right into, well, what challenges are you having? It's kind of just natural. We just want to go into solve and fix mode, right? So it's important to ask what is challenging them, but not until you have found out what they're doing to be successful already. All right. So it's also an opportunity, you guys, to praise them for the things that they are doing right and really help them realize that they may just need to make a small adjustment that could give them a big result. I love how Anna talked about that with the Play-Doh story. A small adjustment could get a big result, right? Adding color to the cleaner made it Play-Doh. So that's a pretty big result. So you guys, if they're having challenges, it's usually because of belief, skill, or habit. All right? So let's just think about this again. So belief means they believe they can do it. Skill means they know how to do it. And habit means they just do it. All right? So you're going to learn like which one this is by really using your curiosity to just explore and discover. All right? Like what if, what are the challenges that they're facing around that topic? So when you're asking questions, here's a tip that you want to remember: to avoid the D questions. A great mentor of mine taught me this, and I'll never forget it. And that's when, you start the call by going, well, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you try this? All right. So you have to remember, you're their mentor and their coach. You are not their mother, right? You're not their father. You're not their parent. So instead, guys, got to ask those open-ended questions to get them to share what they're doing to achieve their goals. All right, so here's one other tip that I just think works like magic. And I know I use this all the time and teach it all the time, but I think this is one of the best things I've ever learned. And that is that we have found when most people are having challenges, it typically falls into one of three categories. It's belief, it's skill, or it's habit. And you have to find out which one of these is holding them back. All right? And once they identify it, you want to ask, okay, so what is it about belief, skill, or habit? So if they say belief, you're going to say, what is it about belief that's holding you back? And once they expand on that, you want to ask, well, okay, what could you do to turn that around? All right? And this leads us right into the next step, which is options. Okay, so but before we go into options, I want to give you a fun exercise that you can do with your upper level leaders in working with them on this skill. All right, so the 3 reflection questions we shared under R would be a great exercise. I don't know if you remember this from when we did this on Wednesday. But this is something that would be fun to do with your upper level leaders that you're going to be working with on these coaching skills. So basically, it's where we really are having this conversation about how to respond about belief, skill, or habit. All right, so the first one was, if you have a consultant who lacks belief in themselves, list at least 3 resources that you can recommend. Now, there were some questions around that. I know some people said, well, are we supposed to recommend, or are they supposed to come up with the answers? What I encourage you to do is to have some things in your back pocket, because you may, like we talked about this morning, have to kind of move into mentor mode or teacher mode for a moment, or training mode, I should say, but really trying to get them to think of those ideas. Books that they could read, TED Talks they could listen to, that type of thing. All right. And the second question was about an aspiring leader, maybe who's struggling with the skill of getting bookings in their parties. And you guys should already know, what are your resources that you have available? Because if they don't know, then it might not be clear. All right. So I know some of you are referring them to DASH trainings. I know you guys have some trainings of your own you may be sharing with them, but make sure they know where to gain that skill so that you don't have to take the time to do that. You can just refer them to the resource. And then the third one is if you have a director who's struggling with a habit of making daily contacts, right? What are the 3 tips or resources you would recommend? Some of you have trackers. Some of you talk about power hours. Like, what is it that helps to build consistency and habit? Because when people are struggling with habit, it almost always comes down to consistency, follow-up, or making contacts. All right. So, but what's really fun, you guys, is to get some of these topics going with your group, with your leaders, and brainstorm the solutions. I know that I've done this at retreats, and it's really interesting to see how many people didn't realize that they had that booking training in their units, or that booking training was on Dash. So that's kind of a fun thing that you guys can do to come up with what kind of resources that you have. So just for example, with belief, the question I always like to think about with belief is like if they're lacking belief in themselves, or are they lacking belief in their consultants? Well, they're not doing it, right? Or in the company, the industry, or something else. And actually, Amy, I skipped ahead to this question. So what you want to do is find out with belief, like what area are they lacking in belief? All right. And so you can kind of do the same thing for skill and habit. You can kind of break it down and figure out, what might be the struggle in that area if you had to pick, 3 or 4. So again, doing this exercise with your leaders is really powerful. And all of a sudden, brand new girl Susie Q has discovered something on Dash that maybe some, 3 or 4 other leaders have not heard of. All right. So I hope that really helps you with that reality part. So let's go ahead and go to options. So the O in the GROW model is focused on options, obviously, to really overcome the challenge. And you guys, it might be a matter of just making those small changes that gets a great result. But by asking a lot of questions, the coach really helps that consultant identify solutions that they have not yet thought of, right? The hard part here is to ask the questions that let them come up with the solution. So again, try to avoid the leading questions or the closed questions that Anna talked about. Now, you guys, this came up again during Anna's session. So before we go to the last step, I just want to address what can happen at any point in the conversation. And that is if your consultant says, I don't know, right? And it's important that you don't just give them the answer. One of my favorite responses is, let's just think about it for a minute. And then just be quiet. I know a lot of you have put in their response that we've shared at New Director Academy, remember New Director Academy, which is, well, if you did know, what would it be? And be quiet. The key is to be quiet. I always tell people, put your hand over your mouth if necessary. Duct tape works well. You guys, silence is okay. We're the one uncomfortable with the silence, not them, because they're thinking. So give them the time to think, because the more answers that come from them, the better. All right. So the reality is that they are much more likely to implement their own ideas. I'll just give you a quick example. I had a consultant that I asked, well, where could you go to find new business? And, I was giving her all the standard answers that I knew from being experienced in the business. And she goes, well, I guess I could go to my quilting club. And I'm like, well, heck, I didn't even know they still had quilting clubs. So that's why it's important that they come up with their own answer. And you guys heard me talk about my sticky note of, that says, wait, why am I talking? If you need that sticky note, feel free to write it out, put it on your computer, put it on your mirror. Remind yourself that you guys, 25% of the time coaching should be you talking, 75% is them talking. All right. So last we have the W, and the W stands for what? What will you do? What action will you take? And the objective of this segment of the conversation is to help the consultant create their own action plan. All right, so they're going to come up with 2 or 3 action steps to focus on that they're going to write down on their coaching prep form, right? There's a place for their call to action there, all right, right at the end. And you guys, it's important that they don't try to do too many tasks, because sometimes people just get so many ideas and they've got like 8 things listed out. 2 or 3 things really will help them to focus. All right. And the key, guys, is for you, it's kind of your role is to make sure that they are income producing activities. So that's important that you come up with that you're helping to guide them in that. So I'm super excited because now we're going to see the You Grow model. in action. Becky and Sherry are going to be taking you through a coaching call. So, first of all, I just want to introduce these lovely, lovely ladies. National Executive Director Becky Ishee and Executive Director Sherry Baker. They're going to go through this call. And you guys, this was a real coaching call that Becky was coaching Sherry. We held this in December. And so I want you to listen as you're taking notes. I want you to listen for UGROW as we go through this. All right. And what I encourage you to do, I know in your notebook section, there's a section for U and for G, all of that. But really, one of the things I want you to do is just to take a blank piece of paper, or you can use your notebook, and make 3 columns. All right, 3 columns. You guys got your notebook out? Did you draw your 3 columns down? All right, so the first column is for you to think about questions or responses that Becky shared. All right, so put Becky over that first column. Things that you liked, that you heard, that you were like, oh my gosh, that was so good. And trust me, that column's going to be full, so you might want to make that one extra long. The second column is for something that you heard that you might say differently. Maybe you just have a different approach, okay? And you may not have heard anything at all because, of course, it's Becky who is a pro. And then the last column is for any aha moment, like something that you heard. And maybe that's even something that Sherry says, like maybe a new awareness that you'll see that like she came up with based on a question Becky was asking. So first column is about Becky, the things you really liked. Second column is something that you may do differently, if there is anything. And the third column is for an aha moment. So as we go through the model, remember to put your questions in the Q&A. If it's specifically for Becky or Sherry, go ahead and let us know that in the Q&A as well. All right, so it's been so great working with Sherry and Becky. Oh my gosh, these guys, you guys are in for such a treat. So first of all, I just want to introduce Becky. Her first Pampered Chef party was on October 15th in 1991. When she joined Pampered Chef, she just wanted all of the products to contribute to her household income, and she wanted to have some adult conversation. So she has found that for sure. And she said she never imagined having such an amazing career when she joined. And Becky is so proud of her leaders who have rallied throughout 2020. They have over 100 director promotions and many upper level promotions. And you guys, listen to this. Their team went from 7.9 million in sales to 18.3 million. And I'm just going to finish by saying Becky loves coaching because she really believes it's a privilege to help her team members and impact, those team members and help them reach their dreams and goals. I want to also introduce Sherry Baker, and I'll tell you, I met Sherry through Executive Bound, and I could just see the fire in her eyes. She was just so hungry to learn and to help coach others. And she joined Pampered Chef in June of 2013. And it was because she wanted to earn a free vacation because they rarely ever got to go on vacation. And now I think they've gone on 6 vacations, compliments of Pampered Chef. And she'll be heading to Nassau this year. So one of Sherry's greatest accomplishments this year was to become the leader of an executive director team in June, which is super exciting. And Sherry is also very, very passionate about coaching. She uses this model regularly. And Sherry went from having 5 leaders to 18 leaders in just 5 months, you guys. And they went from $500,000 in sales to a $2.2 million team. All right, so you guys, we are going to jump right into this coaching session with Becky and Sherry. So Becky, take it away.
All right, thank you so much. Can you hear me clearly? Okay, great. Sherry, how are you?
Great, Becky. How are you?
I'm great. Is this still a good time to talk?
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm so excited to have this time with you. There's so much going on, and thank you for filling out the form prior to our call. I appreciate getting that. But, before we dive right in, I just want to know, how's the family? How's Greg doing? How is everything after this crazy year?
Yes, I know it has been a crazy year. So Greg is doing really well. He has a nice, cushy job at the fire department now. So he doesn't have to work nights or weekends or holidays if he doesn't want to. So that's really fun. He's the fire inspector now. So he's doing really good. And the boys are great too.
Oh, that's so fun because when I look back at our goal board from last year, that was one of your main goals, right? You wanted to take care of your hubby. So how cool is that?
No, it's amazing.
Oh my gosh, is he excited?
He's so excited. He thanks me all the time for helping to take the pressure off of him. And the end game is that hopefully in 4 years he'll retire early. So I'm just going to keep on going to help us get there.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure he appreciates it too, right?
Oh, yes, yes.
He'll be a great fire inspector. All right, so I saw your results and I've really been watching your team and oh my gosh, it's so exciting really just to see everything here on paper, but I'd love to hear from you. What are you most excited about in your business right now?
So what I'm most excited about is our rapid growth. So our rapid team growth. When I look at our numbers from 2019 to 2020, it's just staggering.
Okay, tell me more about that, Sherry. You say growth overall. Is that leadership growth, size, sales? Tell me more what you mean.
Yes to all of the above. So we had quite the leadership growth because we went from 5 directors to 19 this year. And then, so that's really, really amazing. But also the team as a whole in recruiting. Because last year in 2019, I think we had 135 new team members join us. And we're over 300 already this year.
Oh, that's so well done. So well done. I can imagine how excited your team is too. And how about your upper level leadership? I've seen some growth there as well.
Yes, so we have 3 new advanced directors and a new senior director.
Woohoo!
Yes, so that's really exciting too.
That is exciting. So let's first look at what you feel you've accomplished since our last call and what's gone well. So how are you feeling with things, Sherry?
So good. I joined your call from Tuesday night that was all about bookings in December, and I absolutely loved that. I reached out to all of the guests in all of my parties, even the ones that weren't participating in the party and the ones who were invited but never joined. I reached out to everybody, and I really booked up my early December. So that was really great. And I started my new fast track team, my new fab team.
Oh, good. All right. So wait, let me ask you this. Let me backtrack for just a second. How did you take that bookings training to your team? I know you said you used it. So how did you take that to your team to help them get December and January bookings?
Okay, so what I did is I personally reached out to all of my directors and I sent them the recording link directly to them and I asked them to please listen to it and share it with their teams. And then I also personally sent it to each one on my personal team and I asked them to please listen to it and then to give me their number one takeaway.
Oh, that's awesome. So let me ask, what was your number one takeaway?
Oh gosh, so my number one takeaway was at the very beginning. You asked the question, you said, all right, so please take out a piece of paper and I want you to think about why you think you can't get bookings in December. And you really wanted us to think about that. What's the number one reason you think you cannot get bookings in December? And then you had us write it down and then you had us rip it up and throw it away because it just isn't true.
That's right. Very
Yeah.
clever.
Yes, that's exactly what we needed because the day before I had gotten at least 6 calls from various directors and team members. I mean, I think it was at least 6. I'd have to look back. But saying that they couldn't get bookings in December.
Wow. Gosh.
I know. And here I am trying to inspire them. And then this call was just perfect. And it was chock full of ideas. And I was able to help them with that.
Awesome. So after they watched it, did they feel better too?
Yes, they did. They were in a much better place.
Oh, that's great. Good. All right. I know in our prior calls that you mentioned your FAB team because we always train to a monthly FAB team. So just fill me in here. How many are in your current FAB team and how committed would you say they are?
So I currently have 3 in my fab team, and 2 are pretty committed.
Okay. All right. So when you say pretty committed, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you say they fall?
So I know exactly where they fall, Miss Becky, because you taught us to ask this question always. And so they're saying they're a 10, but I like to see their actions first to decide if they really are a 10.
Okay, super. So have you discussed their why as well? I know we've talked about this a lot, and I trust that you have.
Oh, yes.
And the one that's not a 10, have you discussed what's keeping them from being a 10 at this time?
Okay, so, she says she's a 10, but I'm just not seeing her show the initiative. So the things that we've put into place so far, she hasn't done, and she's not even really participating in our small group.
Okay. And so have you had that conversation of how they want you to handle it if they're not doing what they said they would do? Have you had that conversation?
So I have not. Okay, that's a great idea.
Okay, well, would you feel comfortable having that conversation with them?
Yes, I am really comfortable with that conversation because that's what we work through in our small groups with you. So I'm perfectly comfortable with that.
Okay. All right, Sherry, because you build super strong first gen directors. They're so stable, they're so strong, they're growing. So I really feel like you have that covered, that you've identified who you're working with and you've identified who you're working with now. So I'm just curious, have you also identified who could be your next fab team? Because you'll need the next group.
Yes, I know I will need them.
And we know some come, some go, some do, some don't. So have you already identified who will be the next team members in that space, or are you currently looking for those?
So I do need to look for those. I have the ones that want to work towards leadership right now, and then I need to find new consultants to work with in the future.
All right, so it's good that that's identified. So regarding your biggest goals, your very biggest goals, what would your biggest goals be if we tried to narrow that down?
Okay, so on my coaching prep form, I put them in order of importance. So I would really love us to become a senior executive team. So that's my top goal. But to get there, my second goal is to develop 3 new first gen directors because I want a little overage.
Oh, right, very smart.
Yes, I don't want to be struggling, so that we have right now 7 first gen directors that are really strong. So I feel like if we have 3 aspiring leaders, that's a good place to start.
Okay, so have you identified a date of when you'd like to do this with this group that you're currently working with? And have they set dates for their promotions?
So yes, the aspiring leaders that I'm working with right now are working towards a February 1st promotion. And we would like to hit first month requirements for senior exec in January, and then February 2nd month, 3rd month in March. So it would be an April 1st senior exec team promotion.
Okay, perfect. All right. So why do you say you want to reach these goals? I mean, if I asked you, like, what makes you excited about this senior executive director team promotion?
So for one thing, I don't want to stay stagnant. I don't want to stay where I am. I really want to continue to work the career plan. Secondly, I want to show the team that it's possible because I think it's really important to show them, look, I'm just like you and we're doing this, and also to lead by example. And I know the extra income is going to be great for our family too.
Okay. So yeah, tell me more about that because I think it's really important to remember the steps you took to get to where you are this year. Sometimes it can fade so fast, our memory. And I remember Sherry Baker, advanced director Sherry, wanting to be an executive director team and to help those leaders grow then. And there were some very specific things that you did with positive affirmations when we were using those in our group. Mm-hmm. So is that something that you've started to do with this new goal of senior executive director team?
Oh, yes, I am, Miss Becky. And right here on my computer, you can't see it, but it says Senior Executive by 4-1. I had put 3-1, but we need a little extra time, so it says 4-1 now. And my sticky notes are everywhere. So they go on my refrigerator, in my refrigerator, even on my milk, and my rearview mirror, my bathroom mirror, kind of everywhere.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up the milk because I can remember your son or hubby or both. I don't remember exactly what it was, but one of them said, I don't know what an executive director is, but I feel like I could be one. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember that. And that was my husband. So there are actually two really funny stories. So my son came to our house to get ready for a big job interview, and he sees my post-it notes everywhere because at that time we were promoting to an executive director team. So it said, I'm an executive director by June 1, and it was literally everywhere. So then he's in my bathroom getting ready, putting on his suit, and of course he's reading it on the bathroom mirror over and over and over again. When he came out of the bathroom, he said, I'm going to be a firefighter paramedic, and he stood like really strong and confident. And he was going into this interview, and it's a hard job to get on the Cape anyways, but especially at his age of 22. So he came out and he told me, he said, just like you're going to be an executive, I'm going to be a firefighter paramedic for the Brewster Fire Department. And he did a great job in his interview, and he got the job.
Yes, that's so awesome, Sherry. Oh my gosh, what a great story.
I know.
And then what about your husband too, right?
Yes, there's one, yes. So my husband went into the refrigerator to grab the milk. And of course, there was a sticky note on the milk that said I was going to be an executive director by June 1. And he said, wow, I really don't know what an executive director for Pampered Chef does, but I really am starting to think I'm going to be one. Yeah, he said, if I believe I'm going to be one, I really think you are too.
I love it because it's like he's drinking the milk, not the Kool-Aid, but he's drinking the milk, right?
I know, it's so funny.
All right, so good. So tell me what that income would mean to your family. You mentioned the income, and I mean, I know you have already had a big jump from advanced director to executive, but tell me about what this next jump would mean.
Okay, so yes, it has been a huge jump for us. So our plan is to retire Greg in 4 years. As you know, he has a pretty serious autoimmune disease. And just for his health purposes, he needs to plan to retire sooner than later. And stress can really affect his health. I want him to be able to do all the things that he wants to do, like golfing and the beach. So that's our plan. I want to take the pressure off of him completely, and while he's in good physical health.
Sherry, that's so nice. I got goosebumps when you said that, and I know you can do it, Sherry.
I know I can too.
Yes. So I just want to ask, have you identified other first-gen leaders who want to be, where you are right now and beyond, that you're working with in a small group, a fab team, so that you have an upper-level fab team and you have your personal fab team?
I do. I have 3. So Liz Tierney, Ashley Cronin, and Mary Jo Schofield, and the 4 of us do a call every Thursday.
That's great.
Yeah, so they're working towards upper level leadership, and Liz actually just promoted to senior director and will be joining the January Executive Bound program with Home Office.
Oh, that's so exciting. Congratulations.
I know, and Mary Jo's right behind her, so this is going to happen soon.
Yeah, and she's on everything. I see her all the time.
I know.
Yeah, that's good because, they can mirror what you're doing, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah, and have you instructed them to have their fab teams chosen?
Oh, yes. Yep.
All right. So let me ask you this, Sherry. If we could narrow it down to one topic that you really would like to discuss or have some help with on this call, what would that be?
So that would be my personal recruiting.
Okay, personal recruiting. So that provides your next up-and-coming fab team, right, that we said we need to prepare for. So I can see on this form that you'd like to have 2 to 4 recruits a month as a goal. Where are you currently with that?
So I would say if I was to average it out, it would be 1 to 2 on average. And I think as an upper level leader, it needs to be a minimum of 2.
That's great. And I know you're a strong recruiter, Sherry, because you're so passionate. Your passion just runs through the room, right? So let's start by having you share with me what actions that you are taking to recruit, that you already have systematically in place.
Okay, so I'm asking my host at least 3 times. So I will admit I'm not doing the 5 times that's recommended, but I'm asking the host at least 3 times. If I find somebody that I know would just be dynamic on the team, I chase them. I really ask them over and over. I'll say, this is what I see in you, and this is why I keep asking you. And my hope is that it comes across as a compliment, because that's why I do it. And that's what I'm doing that's working.
Okay, all right. Anything else in your shows that you're implementing?
So I have 1 to 2 posts a day on different benefits of becoming a Pampered Chef consultant in our template. I also add posts about our opportunity event each week, and I added the opportunity event to my Google survey.
Okay, great. So sounds like you're doing a great job marketing the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah. So once you market it, what's your next step, Sherry?
So I need to follow up on the comments from my guests.
Okay, how's that going?
So I don't have a very good tracking system, Becky.
Okay, all right. Let's circle back to that in a minute. Okay, all right.
Mhm.
But tell me about the follow-up that you are doing. Where are you currently with that?
Yeah, it's not good. It's very little follow-up. I'm just telling you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just being honest. It's not the way I should be following up. I know that.
All right. No, that's good. I want you to be honest. That's the only way we get to keep moving forward. So, all right. It's 2 things that you see happening right now: not having a good tracking system and not following up, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay. So, what do you see as your biggest obstacle with personal recruiting? What do you think is something that we need to focus on?
So really, if I'm being honest about it, I'm just not asking enough. It comes to me prejudging. So you know how you said earlier, my leaders are really strong, and they are really strong first-gen leaders. Part of that comes with what I look for in a team member, and I'm not prejudging in a bad way. It's just I know what I look for in someone, but I know I could be missing a lot of consultants too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I just need to cut that out and just ask. Just ask,
Well, I'm so glad you recognize that. And you have already pre-diagnosed that because, honestly, Sherry, I have to share, I might have been one of those that you would have overlooked for maybe not being high energy or business savvy at the time because I really just wanted the product. So we never know. And it's smart of you to identify that. So let's go ahead and brainstorm on some actions that to get you back on track. So what is your current show schedule right now?
So right now I have 7 parties this week. And it's the first week in December, so they're going to run until the 12th. And I'm also working on getting 15-minute parties in between as fillers.
All right. So you've got the parties booked. So let's get back to what you said earlier and talk about your tracking system. So what is the system within the party that you're currently using for hosts and maybe even for tracking, anything like that, asks or anything like that?
So I have several notebooks, and I kind of forget about them. So one will be in the car, one will be on the kitchen counter, one's on my desk, and then I'll say, who did I contact last? What notebook goes that in? It's kind of helter-skelter, and it's not a very good system.
Okay. So it sounds like a topic for discussion, right? Mm-hmm. Is that the same for the guests? I assume papers in lots of different places for the guests as well?
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you this. How could you change this?
So I really just need a better tracker, and I need to have everything all in one place.
Okay. So Sherry, tell me about the tracker, your tracker. Actually, could you just send me over a quick picture of it?
Yep.
Snap a picture and send it.
Just sent.
Oh, good. All right. So, Sherry, I'm looking at the form that you sent me, and this is a really good start. What's not easy about this form for you?
So the form is kind of all over the place. It does have a place to list the guests, but not much space at the bottom. And, it's not an easy way to keep track of what I'm doing within the party.
All right. So we have one posted in our team page. Have you seen that one lately, or do you remember seeing it?
Yes, so I had not looked at that closely, but I recently did. And I remember this one, and it has the tasks listed, a place to list all your guests in the party and check off all the times that you've asked the host at least 5 times.
Mm-hmm. So would that be something that you'd be willing to use?
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like exactly what I need. I still have papers all over the place. I got to figure that one out.
All right. And then if you had this all in one place instead of notebooks or papers all over the place, would that help too?
Yes, for sure.
All right. So what do you think? What could you do to pull that together?
So I could use a binder and put everything in the binder.
Great idea. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Is that something that you feel like you could adapt to so that you could take it with you and have it all in one place? Will that fit your lifestyle?
absolutely.
All right. So let's look at the options that we've discussed. You talked about, let's see, asking all the hosts 5 times by not prejudging which host you would ask. The need to follow up more systematically with guests and hosts. You need to have a better tracking system that's easier to use. That all kind of goes hand in hand. And the importance of keeping it all in one binder. So what do you think is the most important thing that you could implement right away?
I think definitely using the tracker and setting up the binder. And I think that would take care of really all of these issues.
Yeah, yes, it'll house everything, right?
Mhm.
So when do you think you could give this new tracker and binder system and have it all set up in the binder? When do you think you could do that?
So I'm going to start using the tracker today. I already have a binder, so I can put loose leaf paper in there, and I'll make 50 copies of the tracker, 3-hole punch them, and put them in the binder today.
Okay, because you have those 7 parties this week, and you'll be able to start tracking and using the system immediately, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yay! So your commitment level on a scale of 1 to 10 of giving that a try would be what, Sherry?
A 10, Becky.
Oh, great. Okay, so you shared that the area where you felt that you were the least competent in was the consistent asking, right? So on that tracker, basically you need to pick a day when you'll start listing all of the guests as you're messaging them for the first time. So what day in your party would work for you, Sherry? Let's try to narrow this down so that you can leave this call with a system that helps you. What day would work best for you during your parties?
So normally on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays is when I send out my booking messages in the party. I would say probably Wednesday.
All right. So if you're sending out your booking messages Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, would you have already had communication with them before that?
Oh, right, yes. So I start communicating with them on Sunday. So when I set up my parties, the host invites over the weekend. And on Sunday, I start sending out the welcome message, welcome to Sally's party. How do you know our host? And that starts the conversation.
Okay. So would it be most helpful then to write them on your tracker at that point because that's the first time that you're messaging them?
Yes.
Okay. All right, super. So what commitment could you give to doing that? It sounds like Sunday or Monday would be the time frame for making sure you have all the guests listed on your paper, by one of those days. But which one do you pick, Sherry?
So I would say Monday because I start sending out the messages on Sunday and I finish them up on Monday. All the welcome messages, with Facebook, we have to be careful how many messages we send at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes me about 2 days to do that. So I would say I could have everybody listed by Mondays.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's summarize then what you're going to do to overcome your personal recruiting, obstacles or issues that you said. The main area was not consistently asking and having a system that was a little needing one that's easier to use. So let's hear what you think you can implement over this next week or two before we talk again.
All right, Becky, are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I have my pen handy.
Okay.
I'm writing it down.
Okay. So I'm going to ask every host 5 times.
Oh my gosh, I got that in writing. Okay.
So I've already done my first ask in these parties. So when when I was setting them up, but I'm going to do the whole 5 times.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever done that before, so I'm going to do that. So that's one thing. And when I find my rock star guests in my parties, the first thing I ask them, I say, "Oh, you're so much fun. Let's keep the party going with your friends." And I ask them about the booking. And I think what I'm going to do is ask the rock star guests about the business first.
Okay, good.
All of the rock star guests.
All right. I'm writing that down too.
Before asking for the party.
All right. I love that. And then if they say no to the business, then what will you do?
Well, then I get to ask them for the booking. I'll say, "No problem. Let's just give you a free shopping spree." And I'll be able to ask them about the business again when they have their own party.
All right. And you've got the show schedule to start working with this. So that's great. I love that. Anything else, Sherry?
I am going to do my reach outs of at least 20 a day.
Okay. For how many days?
So I would say 3 or 4.
Okay. 3 or 4. You pick.
Okay, I'll do 4, Becky.
Okay. All right. So writing it down, 20 a day for 4 days, and those are going into the binder, right? Okay. That's the best use of the binder in the notebook, the reach outs outside of the parties, right?
Right, yes.
All right. So do you need accountability, Sherry, with that to make sure it happens, or do you feel like you have that handled?
No, I have this handled. I can do this.
Okay. All right.
When I commit to it, I do it.
I know you do, Sherry. You really do. All right. So, very well. If you find that you need accountability, you just snap a picture and send it off to me, okay?
Okay.
All right. So today's Monday. So on Thursday, I'd love to hear from you how it went for those 4 days total. Would that be good?
Yep.
All right. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So on your action steps, tell me what you have, Sherry. So I want to make sure I have the same thing you do.
Okay. So I have to set up the binder with 50 trackers, the hole punch. I'll be asking the host 5 times and recording it on my tracker with no prejudging. I will be listing guests on the tracker by Monday and asking my rockstar guests about the business first and then asking for the party if they're not interested in the business. And I'll be using my notebook for tracking those 20 contacts a day outside of my parties, 20 messages for the next 4 days. Did I miss anything?
Nope, you've got them all. So be sure to write this on your call to action on today's coaching prep form, okay? Our next call will talk about your results with all 4 of these steps that you'll be implementing, and you'll put the results on your coaching form that you'll send me the day before that next call under question number 2, okay?
Okay, yep, I'll do that.
All right, well, Sherry, I love your plan. I know this will improve your recruiting results and help you, to be more organized, which is going to feel great. I love your vision with your personal fab team and also your upper level fab team. You've got it all there. You have everyone, working and moving in the same direction, and that's awesome. And I know that you do a great job coaching with them. So if you have any questions, just reach out. Maybe on our next call, we could discuss those potential upper level leaders and executive leaders as well as your fab team. Does that sound like a plan, to help you get that senior executive director team?
Absolutely. You know, Becky, when we do our small group calls with your executives, you know, we do the small group calls that you pick us into. I just take that information and I take it to my upper level fab teams on Thursdays. So I'm just taking what you're doing and transferring it over to them. So I love that.
I love hearing that, Sherry. You just made my day, really. You're doing amazing things. It's awfully exciting, and you know, I'm really just so excited to be able to be part of it. So thanks for trusting me and working together. I really love it. I love our coaching sessions and being able to work with you.
Thank you, Becky. I love them too.
All right, well, let's pick our next date and time for our call. Let's see, would the same day and time work, say in 2 weeks, maybe the 12th at 9 in the morning?
Perfect.
Okay. All right, keep me updated via Messenger and feel free to message in between our calls, okay?
Okay. Have a great day.
All right, Sherry, thanks. You too.
Oh my word. You guys, was that not amazing? Oh man, Becky and Sherry, if we were in a room right now, the whole room would be standing up and cheering. I know that for sure. So, don't you guys all wish you had a Sherry Baker on your team? If we could just clone her, the world would be a better place, right? And Becky, like, what a pro. I mean, she is a master at asking questions. And I love that you can just see her heart come shining through. You can just tell she really cares. And at the same time, she was very specific about the action plan. And, you know, that reminds me of the definition of retention, you guys, which is relationships plus results equals retention. You guys hear us say that a lot. Relationships plus results equals retention. And obviously, Becky really displayed that. If you don't have this written down, take a picture of this slide because it's kind of what Anna was talking about, that balance of relationships and retention together. So, oh my gosh, you guys, all your comments were amazing. We're going to have to like copy and paste them in for Becky and Sherry. But I know Gretchen said, I want to be like Becky when I grow up. And Rocky said, smooth as silk. Mary Beth said, calm, cool, collected, and gorgeous. A master, you guys, there were just so many incredible positive comments. So, you guys, now we're going to do something that could scare some of you, okay? Do I have your attention now? So, for some people, this would really be out of your comfort zone. So, you guys, we have 4 people who have agreed to give some feedback about this coaching conversation and what they observed. And I will tell you, this is a super, super powerful way to learn to master the skill of coaching. All right, so you kind of have to put yourself out there, you know, on the line here and be vulnerable. But you guys, everybody can always learn and grow. All right, I love coaching, and I've learned so much just in the last, you know, month or so getting ready for this segment. So I know that a lot of you guys you're all taking your notes, and you have your 3 columns, you know, during that session. And we have asked these 4 leaders who agreed to share what they observed. All right. So it's important to hear the positive feedback. And that's kind of our first column because it really, it encourages us as coaches to keep implementing what's working. Right. And then when we hear the suggestions of how things can be done differently, that is where the real growth happens. All right, so we have Cammie Cruz, Stephanie Richardson, Ellington Boyce, and Francine Fortier. Hope I'm saying your name right, Francine. So we're going to start with Cammie. So Cammie Cruz, can you jump in? And Sherry, you can probably go ahead and mute your video here for a sec.
Awesome. Well, oh my gosh, what is not to love? Seriously. I also want to be Becky when I grow up, #life goals. So I loved 4 things especially. The first thing that I loved was how Becky really used the words, if Sherry would be comfortable with, rather than the dreaded D words, you know, do this, do that, those accusatory and deflating questions. And I loved the phrases she used as lead-in questions. I'm just curious. Have you identified? I also especially really, really loved when she said, oh, this sounds like a topic for discussion, rather than, you kind of stink at this, right? So just building her up, it was a great way to say, this sounds like a great topic for discussion. And I really loved she went into what would this income mean for your family. I find myself trying to, kind of being fearful of asking that question. I don't ever want to intrude and I don't want to pry, but I just realized I need to not be afraid to ask, especially with leaders coaching. And, because by not asking, I'm probably just doing them a disservice. So I just need to jump in there and be better about that. And last but not least, I really like how Becky was so complimentary to Sherry. She just made Sherry feel really good and empowered the whole time. Now, as far as different approaches, nothing. There's nothing that I would do differently. I have no feedback on that. But my ahas, besides, being more open to asking about the income and how that would benefit their family, was really I loved how Becky really narrowed it down. I mean, they had a list of things, but I love how she narrowed it down to have her pick what were the most important things to work on, after the call. Instead of, I'm sure we've all been on things where we have so many ideas and so many things that we want to do, and it backfires because we just feel so overwhelmed we can't do any of them and we get frozen. So I love how she just narrowed it down to what are the most important steps after this call. And then lastly, I love how she said, do you need accountability or do you have it handled? It really goes along well with the whole DISC approach and the different personalities, because some people may not want to be followed up with, where other people may really, really need that. So thank you so much, Becky. You were awesome.
Oh my gosh, Cammie, great points. Man, those are some perfect pieces that you observed. So thank you so much for that. Really appreciate your feedback. Okay, great. Stephanie Richardson.
So it was fabulous, as we all know, and in the beginning there was a lot of discussion about goals and building her team, and then Becky narrowed it down and asked Sherry what was the one topic that she wanted to discuss on the call today, and I thought that was really helpful. And then she asked her what was the biggest obstacle that she had with personal recruiting, and I thought that was great. And then at the end of the session, one of the things I loved that Becky did was she summarized the action steps for the call, but then she had Sherry share what she had written down and ask which option was the most important for Sherry to implement right away, which again narrowed down that focus for Sherry. So one thing I might have explored a little bit deeper was when Sherry said she didn't have the habit of asking the host 5 times and she had never done that she usually asked the host 3 times. I would have liked to have known what's gotten in the way of her asking 5 times and versus 3 times, and when and how she specifically was going to change that to get to the 5 times, so that Sherry had thought through the system of how she was going to do that. My aha moments, Becky was very relationship focused. I love how she said, thanks for trusting me. And she was like that during the entire session. And you can tell that she has a really strong relationship with Sherry. And instead of telling Sherry, you need one system for tracking and you need to put it in a binder or a notebook, which is what a lot of people do, is go to that role, she just kept asking questions until Sherry came up with the answer. And it takes a lot longer to do this than to just tell the answer, but Sherry had a whole lot more ownership over her action step by Becky waiting and giving her time to come to that. And then the last thing I'll just share is that Becky really helped Sherry focus on systems that she needed in place, like the tracking sheet, what day in the party she was messaging guests. And we know from hearing Rory Vaden in the past that a business is only as strong as the systems that it has in place. And Becky was focusing on how to help Sherry build a stronger business with more consistent systems.
All right. Sorry, couldn't find my mute button. Stephanie, thank you. Oh my gosh, those are such great observations. And you're right, systems are definitely the key. So fantastic. All right, now we have Ellington Boyce, who is going to jump in and share as well.
Well, I have to say what everybody else said, which is that she was absolutely phenomenal. And I don't know that there's a whole lot that you can say from watching the session that's done as well as that. But, what was some of the things I liked? I loved how she was such a great. Oops. Did I lose it?
I lost you just for a second, but we got you back, Ellington.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what
No.
happened.
No worries.
Okay, I just said that I am right with the others on it was just an amazing session, and I don't know how you can really critique it because it was so awesome. And I want to be like Becky when I grow up as well. So I would just say the things that I really, really liked is I loved her commitment to the call. You could just feel how committed she was and how invested she was in Sherry helping Sherry in a partnership to meet those goals. I love how she repeated all of the things that were outlined in the call, and not once throughout the call did she ever tell Sherry what she needed to do. She allowed Sherry to come up with each of those things to support where she was trying to go. So for me, those were some of the things that I absolutely loved. As far as anything that I would do differently, that's probably nothing. The only thing that I could have thought of is that it was obvious that they had identified what she was going to do, like positive affirmations, go back to that if she began to lose her focus. Maybe just ask an additional question on, as your leader, if you begin to lose focus of your goals, what would you like to see from me? So maybe just giving Sherry an opportunity to voice in that time that things get a little bit more challenging, what would she like to see from me as the leader? My aha moments was, it was a lot. I'll just tell you, I had a long list. But the one thing for me personally is that I learned that I need to learn to ask the questions and then shut my big mouth, because that is not at all on any of this that she did today. I mean, she asked the question, she let her identify, and Becky just sit back and was completely quiet. And that is a real struggle for me personally. I want to tell them what to do, and I want to keep telling them what to do and go on and on and on. And so I'm going to learn how to put the duct tape over my mouth. I'm going to use the sticky that you shared with us, Kathy, which was an amazing tip. So, yeah, I've already got mine on my computer. So that was definitely my big aha moment, to allow them to come up with those things and just to sit back and be quiet.
I
Awesome.
love that. And thank you for being honest about that, Ellington, because I know you are not the only one. There are a lot of people have that D-style personality. They just want to tell them what to do, fix it, and then move on, right? So thank you so much for sharing, Ellington. That's really valuable. All right, thank you. Okay, so now we have, last but not least, Francine Fortier. Am I saying your name right, Francine?
Yes, you are.
Yay.
I think I got everything going here. Yes. Alrighty. So first of all, Becky, wow, thank you so much. It is amazing to see that modeled. And one of the things I wanted to say I observed so clearly was it was so personal and warm, and I could really see the relationship being built there. Obviously, all the questions about their family and how you keep bringing things back to the family and really reinforcing the why and repeatedly asking about the why, I thought was really good. It wasn't just one point. As far as questions that I thought were really effective, I loved when you asked how you shared that with your team. So, because when you talked about that booking workshop, and I thought that was a really great point, because I think as leaders, when we're coaching leaders, reminding them things that they can obviously share with their teams it was very effective. There was so much belief that you kept reinforcing and praise throughout, which I thought was just so empowering, and I thought just a beautiful piece of this. I really did. I love some of the questions you asked, like, how can you change this? What's your commitment level? These simple things, what's your next step? You never ever went to a D. a D question. So that was, I mean, and again, my amazing colleagues before highlighted so many additional questions already. So those were definitely things that just really resonated. I loved at the end when you said, "Tell me what's on your list." Like throughout the whole thing, she was in complete control of the decisions. She was in complete control. When I say she, I mean Sherry. And so I thought that was, again, the whole process was super empowering. I didn't have anything that I would do differently. I did really appreciate, though, Stephanie's point. I thought that was really was great, a great suggestion. Again, as far as my ahas, I think Becky spent a lot of time on really understanding the update section and the reality section of the You Grow. I really felt like she had a good handle on what was going on overall with her overall goals, but then I loved how she really funneled it down to those specific actions. And so she had a super clear vision of Sherry's business through all those discovery questions. And again, I love, one of the things I do love again was she always asked for commitment on action. Like, are you comfortable having that conversation about accountability? Because we can say things like, we can say, oh, you should have that question of what should you do if they don't do what they say they're going to do. But we do need to follow that up with, are you comfortable having that conversation? So it was very complete. And I really thank you for that. And I'm really happy to have been a part of this.
All right. Thank you so much, Francine. I love that. Yeah, she definitely narrows it down. And I like how you talk about Sherry being in control, because that's the autonomy that that Anna was talking about. So very good. Thank you. So you guys, what we're going to actually do now is I want to hear kind of Sherry's perspective of kind of how she felt during the conversation. So Sherry, do you want to jump in?
Sure. So first, I just want to share that this was a real coaching call and that Becky and I do coach together. And she is a huge reason why I am where I am today, a really huge reason. And I just think the Ishee organization is so lucky to have her. So I just want to just put that out there right now. So let me just say that the questions that Becky asks pulls out of you, meaning the coachee, your challenges and then how you can fix your own challenges. So you own it at the end of the coaching call. And that is really, really big. And I want to show you guys, I mean, as far as aha moments go, so Becky, here's my binder with all my papers and all my stuff. And, you know, so I implemented this right after we had the call and it's helped me so much. So I just want to say, as a coachee's perspective, definitely her pulling out of me what I needed to help fix and change was very, very effective. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I love it. And I love the proof of the binder there. All right, fantastic. Okay, Becky, share with us kind of your thoughts of going kind of through this process and what are your observations?
Yeah, thank you so much. So it has been fun. I love coaching. It's something I'm passionate about. Love it. Sherry and I have been coaching for a year, and we've built a super strong relationship. So I do love hearing the check-in on the family, and I do remember and write down the things that, you know, affect the family of the person I'm coaching with. It's super important to me. And I mean, she's amazing, so it makes it easy. But I just, you know, love the process. And Kathy's been so great to work through and to identify the different parts and pieces of the You Grow and put that into place. So I hope that's helpful. There are a few things I want to share. Coaching is really a work in progress. And what I want everyone to understand is it's not that you're right or wrong. You can't be right or wrong. What happens is you keep learning and making adjustments so that you receive better results from your coaching. Okay? Now, even after all these years, I sometimes tend to give leading questions that steer in the direction I want to go. And then I have to like zip it and kind of come back and think, okay, how could I ask that differently, right? It's probably better to have them discover for themselves their own path, right? So a way to help you avoid doing that, if you run into that pitfall like I sometimes do, is work from the coaching call prep form that they send you. All right, and prepare some questions ahead. You know, your toolbox, your go-to questions that maybe you want to write on the top, so you can always go back to it. So I'm going to share this, and Sherry said I could, but this was the coaching prep form that she sent. And all of the red writing, all of the pink red writing are my questions that I wrote down as I'm reading. This is kind of like her story that she sent. And I'm writing down questions of how I can find out the missing pieces. So if you prep ahead for that, you know, there are things on here that I wrote, like, you know, have you identified the other strong first gens? What do you see as your biggest obstacle? What is your system within the show? What are you currently doing? So, you know, a lot of that I needed to know more about what she sent. And then just the little black writings are what else I wrote during our actual coaching call, that we really did do this, and then it was transcribed. So, but what I do know is not to be worried about right or wrong, just to be learning and growing, and it's a privilege to help people and impact their lives. So what I do know is that when you lead with your heart and the desire to empower them rather than enable them. See, I feel like I do a bad job if I'm just enabling them to do whatever. So when you lead with your heart and you empower rather than enable, you'll have great results. And let me just ask you this in the chat, you can type real quick. Have you ever told somebody what to do and they say, I've done that, it didn't work. No one wants to book. Okay, anybody? Okay, yep, all the time. All right, phew, I'm glad I'm not the only one. So, you know, that was a learning experience for me early on in my career, but here's the end and how I can summarize it. When you ask questions, it gets the person to be part of their own solution, and it helps them take ownership over it, which in turn gives the results you're both looking for. Because when you simply tell someone what to do, they often see it as you having those skills and it being you, and it worked for you, not them. So that's why it's so important. Coaching shows that you believe in them even before they believe in themselves, and holding them accountable shows that you truly care. So I teach in our organization the word family. It stands for forget about me, I love you. And that's what coaching comes down to. It's all about them and helping them get the results that they're looking for. So I hope that helps. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your kind words, too. And
oh my gosh, and I'm busy writing notes here. Or Becky, I had to write that down. Forget about me. I love you. I love that. That's so sweet. So you like got choked up there, almost make me choke up, because I get it that coaching makes such a difference. So you guys give it up for our 4 observers, and to Becky and Sherry, like what an incredible job. Thank you guys so much. So, all right. So here's what we're going to do to wrap this up. I want you guys to really think about how can you now take this information, like what do you do with this? You know, it's hard to listen to someone like Becky who's so smooth and really has this figured out, but you guys all can make this happen. So now that we've kind of seen this model, what we want to challenge you to do is to duplicate this with your leaders by starting a coaching club. Okay, so this is kind of a new concept for us. So you know, pay attention, take some notes. And so what you really want to do, and I think we have a slide for this, is that you want to start by inviting all those upper level leaders. Okay, so they just learned this method at Empower, right? And you're going to reach out to them, and you're going to find out like who's committed to, you know, growing their coaching skills. And invite them to be part of your coaching club, all right? Now, you guys, they have to be open to feedback so that they can become better and grow. And most people are, but there may be some people that, you know, would be very uncomfortable with that. So, you know, and you can partner with peers. You can partner with other leaders that you're with right now in the room. So, you know, maybe you didn't have any upper level leaders attend Empower, but reach out to your peers and you can kind of form your own coaching club. So let's talk a little bit about kind of how to run this. So what you can do is you can have small groups gather, like maybe 3 people in a group. there's going to be a coach, there's going to be a coachee, and there's going to be an observer. And all three will participate in the roles at one time or another throughout these sessions. All right. So let's just kind of think about what this could look like. What this could look like. You want to make this real. Okay. You want to be yourself. You want to talk about what's really happening in your business. So this will be like a real coaching call with the three of you in this group, right? Use your coaching prep form. Decide on, the timing. Like, are you going to do a 30-minute call and then have 15 minutes for feedback? How are you going to actually kind of structure your call? Are you going to do it once a week for 3 weeks? How would you like to do that? So, all right. And so just a few other tips are that you might want to use a timer for the feedback. So everybody gets 3 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever for the feedback. The observer will go first. So you've got the coach, the coachee, and the observer. So have the observer go first, and then have the person that was being coached share kind of what her responses or his responses were, and then have the coach share, just like we modeled to you guys. The difference is we had 4 observers. You would probably only have 1 in this situation, right? Now, you can have larger groups, and where that would be helpful is for some people that aren't really ready to jump into coaching yet, but they kind of just want to learn and observe, all right? So you're going to be having them do the same 3 things we did, those 3 questions, right? What questions and responses did the coach use that were effective? What are some things you would do differently, if there are any? And what are your aha moments, all right? And so, basically the first week, one of you is the coach, right? And the next week, the second person is the coach. And the last week, the third person is the coach. So I think you kind of get what we're talking about. So, and if you'd like, you can have more observers, kind of like I was talking about. And you can decide, how many people are going to give feedback. But just play with this, you guys. Have fun. Keep it simple. Adjust the timing to what fits, for your organization. I'm actually going to be posting a little sheet that has some tips on how to run a coaching club. All right. And, we also have for our executives and our senior executive directors, we have our executive success series. So, if you're working on this and have some questions, that can come up on that call. Also, of course, for nationals, we have the Empire Builders. So, guys, if you have questions as you're going through this and you're trying this, but I will tell you, professional organizations, this is something that they do, right? They have these coaching clubs where they're actually having a coach, a coachee, and an observer, and they're really helping other people to grow. So I'm just curious what you guys think about having your own coaching club. If you want to kind of throw it in the chat. I don't know if Stacia can, actually, you know what? We changed this. We turned it into a poll. Sorry, I forgot. So tell us how you feel about forming your own coaching club. All right, take a look at this poll and answer the questions. Super excited. I'm energized, ready to form a coaching club right now. I love it. Wow. Okay, I want to review the YouGrow coaching resource in Dash. But I'll form a coaching club soon. Love that. I'm a little nervous. I think I'll take the coaching training in Dash before I form my coaching club. Okay, so I see many of you are ready to jump in. 82%, 79, 80. All right, I love that. Very good. All right, so I think we have 7 minutes for questions. So I'm going to go ahead and look and see what we have here for questions. And jump on in. Okay, so this might be for Sherry or Becky. So if you guys want to unmute. And actually, this first one this is from Trina. And so Becky, she says, how and where do you track your coaching forms? Is this something you have people handwrite, email, fill in the Google form? That type of thing. Do you use the Calendly questions when they set up an appointment? So it's a multiple question. So let's just start with that first, about how you use the coaching form, Becky.
Yeah, so there are a variety of ways to do it. And for me, it depends on who I'm coaching with and what we're coaching on. So the big coaching for the year and setting things up, that kind of thing, I would have them complete a form and I would keep it. I do keep binders, and I know that's paper oriented. I also use the Google Calendar though. So where I have the Google Calendar set up for that phone call for them or that coaching, I'll go in there under the description and add notes of what were those final takeaways. But I like to be able to prepare on here and have it all in one place. So, you can do it whichever way you want. But I think the form's awesome. And I think if you're trying to learn how to coach, it gives you the opportunity to create some added questions before you get on the spot in the call. And we have a lot of laughs in our call and back and forth. So we had to take some of those out because you have to have one finish talking before the other one starts. But you'll get to that point. And then at that point, when it's not the big one, I would probably use on Calendly, I just have them answer 3 questions and keep that there and put it in the Google Calendar.
Okay, good. That's really helpful. And so you guys, we do have this coaching form that you can, download. It's in the influence folder under the latest support folder, so you can send that to them ahead of time. Some of you that coach with me have seen that I actually cut and paste those questions into the Calendly app so that when they book the call that they can fill those out. So there are lots of different options. The important thing is to find out what's easy for you. I personally like taking notes on OneNote, which is a Microsoft app, because then I can search for people and search for things that we talked about. So there's lots of different options. The key is to find out what is working for you.
So I would love to get to the point where you are, Kathy, because I would love to be able to have that form in Calendly, but I'm not there yet on Calendly.
Well, let me tell you why you're going to love it, Becky, because I am a notebook girl, and so I have transformed my life by doing OneNote. But the reason is OneNote looks like a notebook. It's like a binder, then there's sections, and there's tabs, then there's pages. So
sounds like we need a little.
I'll tell you how easy it is.
Looks like a coaching opportunity right here.
All right, so Kim Burnett wants to know, how often do you coach your directors, upper level execs? All or same or different? Same or different?
For me, okay.
Yes.
So I do first gen one-on-ones, and I try to offer those quarterly. And that works for us because most are also in another group, a working group. Mm-hmm. So we have working groups, and those meet weekly, and I meet with those. There are probably, 20 people in different working groups. So
I love it. So you work with your first gens, and you encourage them to work with their first, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Okay, love it. So Tiffany is asking, what would Becky say if Sherry had said, I'm not feeling comfortable to confront the leader? Good question.
That's a good question, because so you have to think about what you'd be willing to do, but I probably would ask, tell me what part you're not comfortable with. I understand, it's learning. Tell me which part you're not comfortable with, and then try to work through that. And if we couldn't, then I might, and I've done lots of 3-way coaching. Would you like me to have a call and you listen? And just let them know that this is something that we'd like to do to help them move along together. And then you'll be taking over from that point. So you can always, resort to that. But I want her to feel really good about what she's going to do. So I'm going to find out what is holding her back from doing that.
And I love how you offer to model that. I call it the bicycle theory, right? First you show them how to ride the bike, then you run alongside them, and then you let them go on their own, right? So that's a great example. Okay, so then Christina says, if somebody responds with that they're not comfortable with asking tough questions, how would Becky respond?
I'm sorry, say it again. If someone
responds with, no, I'm not comfortable asking tough questions, which might be kind of the same as what you just talked about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think what part of that makes you uncomfortable? Tell me, it's a real feeling. So I want to understand it and see if we can get around it. And if not, would you like me to model that? I'd be happy to have a call with one of your team members and have you listen, and we'll let them know that that's what we're doing. And it works really well. I've done those quite a bit.
Perfect. And then the last question is more about your content, what you're talking about. And I was getting lots of questions I was answering about that as well. They're like wanting to get all your tips. But Karen wants to know about your upper level groups. So do you have groups that you work with for people that are going for advanced director, and is that true also for senior director and executive director?
Yeah, it just depends on what your focus for the year is. This last year, I really wanted our team to have executive directors. I felt really passionate about not coming to exec-sem, without new executive directors. So last year at this time, I formed the first small group, which was Exec Bound 1, and there were 6 people in there. And then 4 weeks later, 5 weeks later, I formed Exec Bound 2, and there were 6 people in there. And 9 of the 12 promoted to executive director. And
Wow, amazing.
I have a senior bound, and it's really about, and people are going to say, what's your material? What do you teach? We meet weekly. Sherry's one of them. We talk about, who is your fab team and exactly what we did there. Who are your new recruits? Who are your new recruits that are coming in, your new team members? Who do you have that can be part of your small group, your fab team that you're working with? Are you working through a director bound with them? What are they lacking? What do you need? And we do that. And I think 6 is the max for me. I know she said today a smaller number, but we've gotten along well, and the personnel, they all want to stay in their groups. I asked them that last year too. And
yeah. I love that. And to me, it really sounds like you're really just working through what's working and what's not. It's really very open, and you're just getting those answers. So thank you so much for asking those. Okay, so that's it for our questions. Thank you so much for answering all those questions. So just want to make sure you guys know really quick that we are going to ask you guys 2 questions, and we want you to post, again, who will you practice with this model with? And how can you help your leaders in the organization become better leaders? And so we'll be posting that in the page that you guys can respond to that. So I think that is it for us. So Jessie, I think you're up.
I'm up. Wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much. That was absolutely amazing. I got to tell you, that was like a masterclass in coaching. I think we're all going to start coaching everybody. If you weren't coaching your teams, maybe this weekend start coaching your children, get out a book, start coaching them on everything. Just get that practice in. But thank you, Kathy, Becky, Sherry, and from our 4 observers, Cammie, Stephanie, Ellington, and Francine. What you guys shared is absolutely going to be probably super valuable to your teams, but definitely valuable to your businesses. We're really excited that this has been introduced over this exec-sem and also to your teams through Empower. Just imagine the power it's going to have in your organizations. Coaching is amazing. It creates awareness, increases responsibility, and develops that accountability. So by seeking that awareness that's within the individual, we're able to really address those performance gaps. I think it helps take people to new places from where they are today to where they actually want to be. It helps you help them get there. Coaching is really an effective way. It's been proven to be an effective way to change people's behavior, to change their habits. And we know that when we change their behavior, their habits, the way of being, we change their belief. When we help others change their belief, we help them believe more in themselves and others. It absolutely changed their lives. It helps enrich their lives. They have a better experience, higher levels of success, and that's really ultimately what it's all about. At the end of the day, coaching really is about enriching lives. And of course, that's what we do here, right? So before we end executive seminar, I do actually want to take a moment to do one other thing, and that is actually to say goodbye to all of you, but also we would like to extend a farewell to Sherry Clausen. Sherry actually has decided to say farewell after 32 years with Pampered Chef. She's going to be hanging up her apron and retiring on January 31st. Sherry, congratulations on your career that has touched so many lives in so many wonderful ways. And thank you on behalf of everyone for all that you have done in this wonderful business. Thank you so very much for all that you have contributed. 32 years, oh my goodness, can you imagine? Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Sherry. So now, with that, I'd like to turn it over to Nevena so she can share with you some closing thoughts.
Thank you, Jesse. Wow, what an incredible end of ExecSem. And before I share closing thoughts, of course, I want to extend my congratulations and gratitude to Sherry, as I'm seeing a lot of people are doing on the chat, for the amazing legacy that she has created over these years with Pampered Chef, and wish her absolute joy of what the next chapter will bring for her, and know that she will be greatly missed, but hopefully stay in touch and continue to be a strong support system for Pampered Chef. So thank you, Sherry. Lots of love to you. And we look forward to celebrating what's to come next for you. And please, as you are congratulating her and extending your best wishes, help me once again say a heartfelt thank you to our amazing execs that were part of today's session as well. Truly magnificent. I have to say, was the highlight for me out of ExecSem, because I truly believe that our biggest possession is what we carry within us. And so I feel that today was an absolute incredible gift. So thank you, Becky, Sherry, Stephanie, Ellington, Cami, Francine, for this amazing gift, gift of knowledge, gift of inspiration. It has been an incredible couple of days. We started reflecting on 2020, celebrating where we are today, celebrating you. And I know it pains us that we can't do this live. We know that as much as we want to celebrate and do justice to each and every one of you, it is challenging to do this virtually. So know that we see, appreciate, love you, and cannot wait for the opportunity to really come together and to be able to recognize you in the way that we as Pampered Chef love to do that. And so we painted a picture as well with Andrew of what our strategic initiatives are, how are we as Pampered Chef planning to be strong and thriving in years to come. But also we got very practical and tactical with some great testimonials, training and tips, and with today's session of building skills as coaches that can help you get going and continue growing today. And so coming together like this as a leadership team is so important at the start of the year for a strong start. And I appreciate you because I know how important this period is for all of you. I know that many of you are juggling a lot of events happening, continuing to drive great parties, recruitment events, and supporting your teams. We know it's been a busy week, but we certainly hope that it's provided the value that you deserve, because it's in events like these that we know that we can bring to life what is so powerful. It is beyond just the tools that we can provide. There's nothing quite as powerful as the opportunity for us to come together, to connect, and create a vision towards a common purpose. Because as humans, we crave relationships, we crave community, and we are a relationship business. And we saw the importance of that more so than ever in 2020, in which we were balancing family time, business, and trying to maintain that close proximity to each other, to you, to your teams, and knowing how challenging it is when we are not able to do that face to face. So, of course, it's critical for us that we use this moment, ExecSem, to come together with that common purpose of growing and improving as leaders, because we are challenged today more than ever as leaders in this remote environment to continue to service our teams in the best possible way. And in doing so, and gathering together like this, we also have the opportunity to become stronger as Pampered Chef. And so through training, collaboration, and sharing our stories, we strengthen this team, this executive team. And our sincere hope is that you do come away from ExecSem energized, motivated, inspired, ready to go back and do the same for your teams. Because we all know that when we reach out our hands to those around us and help them develop, grow, believe that they can reach their goals, incredible things happen. We heard it through all of the testimonials this week. And as Doris, our founder, said at the beginning of ExecSem, leadership is what happens when we're focused on serving others. And I also love what Kathy and Jesse had to say about the art and power of strong coaching. And I shared about my son that it's his birthday today. I have two boys that love to play basketball. And so around them, I started learning more about the game. With them, we've seen some documentaries. And the most interesting ones have been of coaches of basketball teams, of star teams. And seeing the analogy between coaches across industries. Because most of the world's greatest coaches in professional athletics as well have themselves excelled in their coaching area of expertise. Something that I think we all can relate to, right? You demonstrate and you teach to what you have mastered yourself. They know what it takes to be successful, and therefore they know how to bring the very best out of their teams, as we've seen you do. And they know that the role of the coach means also being a teacher, mentor, and cheerleader. And just like teachers, great coaches know that the magic comes not when they provide all the answers, as we masterfully saw demonstrated by Becky, but when they facilitate personal and professional growth by asking questions, providing guidance, encouraging, motivating, and also driving accountability. And so masterful demonstration of that today. Thank you once again, Becky. And we know that at a next level, and that is the next level mastery of coaching, when we take it that one step further by guiding teams to excel together. And so that's an interesting quote, one that resonated very, very much with me. And in one of the coaches of All-Star Players, he said, my role isn't to coach my athletes how to play. They know how to play. My role is to make them better as a team. And hearing Becky talk about, your fab team, for your fab teams at this level, many of you are that master coach, not only inspiring and supporting your team members to excel at what they do, to be on their best game, but you're taking it a next step further as executives. You're building an all-star team by helping them work together. That is truly, truly the role, or as we've heard Rory Vaden talk about, the multiplier of multipliers. And it comes back to why I made the analogy with the redwood trees in the beginning of ExecSem. Why I find them so impressive. Because they are so gorgeous, so beautiful, so strong individually. But they are that much stronger and more resilient together. They become strong not because of the size, but because of the roots. That many trees working together form that foundation that supports and helps nourish one another. And as an executive, you want to create that team that gets better and stronger together. And so this is a perfect time to do a shout out to your amazing national executive director. That is exactly that nourishes those roots of your teams. And I've seen those call outs today. And so please, as many of them are on the line today, help me recognize them for being that multiplier of multipliers, that master coach that has inspired you and that helps fuel a stronger, better team. Because when we're focused on serving and coaching in that way, we not only help members of our teams become great, but as we said, we become stronger, resilient together. And so as we look at 2021, nobody knows what it will bring. But what we do know is that we are stronger today and we will be even stronger tomorrow. I personally believe that 2021 has the potential to be our best year yet. So 2020 was an amazing year in many ways, but 2021, I say it should be our year to thrive, not survive. Let's make it our year to thrive. And we're starting in a great way. And we started with one record that still hasn't been beaten, and one record that I know we will beat really soon. And that is enriching the lives of over 15,000 new consultants in a month. Can we do it? Can we do it, execs? Let me know. Can we do it now? And what you do makes a difference in the lives of so many consultants. It's not about the numbers. Behind every number is a compelling, strong story. One story, one meaningful story that is worth us going the extra mile. Every story that we heard, I cannot imagine if that person wasn't able to realize what they did. One story missing would have been such a heartbreaking thing for all of us when we think of all of the testimonials that I heard. So it's not the number, it's the lives that we enrich. It's why Doris says it's a high calling. And so with that, we coined it 2021. Let it be the year in which we don't survive, only aim to survive. We aim to thrive. I believe in each one of you. I believe in your amazing leadership, and I'm grateful for your continued partnership, your commitment to your teams, your dedication to our company's purpose, and your relentlessness in enriching lives. And so we said we'd love, and I know, big shout out, and please, now it's time for me, as a proud leader of our amazing field team, to ask you to help me, to say a big kudos to all of your field support team members, to Judy, Kathy, Jean, Jessie, Doreen, Noelle, Erica, all of our amazing field development managers and our field support team that have worked so hard, along with our events team, along with our field success partners. So there are too many to list. And so I apologize. I started saying each name, and I know we won't have enough minutes left to go through all. So please help me do a special shout out and kudos to all of your amazing field partners that really, really aim to ensure that you have all of the support that you deserve. And I know Jessie especially would love, as well as Judy, at the close of ExecSam, as you're expressing your gratitude, to also let us know with one word, how would you describe your ExecSam experience? So if you can use the poll to give us your one word that encapsulates, and I know it's a challenging thing to ask of you, but in one word, right, Jessie? We're asking a bit of the impossible here, I think. But
and we'll take a screenshot of this so we can have like a memory of that one impactful word.
So what are you seeing, Jessie? Help me out.
Empowering, mind-blowing, inspiring, rejuvenated. I saw a new one, brain-plosion. That's a new one. Brain transformational, refreshing, powerful, rejuvenated, focus, inspirational, game-changing. I like it. Massive action. Now, I got to tell you, I love our Pampered Chef consultants. When you want to use two words, make it one by just
adding them together.
I love it. Put them together. Put them together. I love it. That's good. I love powerful, energized, unforgettable. I love motivating, ready. It's good. Let's go. I like it. I like it. Transformed. We've got a hashtag in there. Hashtag incredibly blown away. Way to go. One word. I like it. It's good. It's good.
Well, inspiring seems to be at the heart of it. And
Yeah.
speaking of inspiring, we have all of our speakers today behind a camera. And so I hope I don't get in trouble by asking them to show their beautiful faces, as I know, Jessie, you're
Please.
about to wrap up the day. So please, ladies, help us see you.
Absolutely. Please, yeah, come on or off or on camera. We'd love for everybody who's been involved to jump on, say hey. It's been a really jam-packed week. We know that this is been a lot of information, a lot of sessions, especially for NEDs and everyone who's been here for the whole week. But gosh, you guys have been with Empower and ExecSem. It's been a lot of information. We hope you've gotten a ton out of this. We've shared business updates, had peer-to-peer training, lots of training. We've got our guest speaker, Anna Brown. Wasn't she amazing? We are at this point, though many of you might be exhausted. I know some of our home office team is pretty exhausted. We are sad to see it come to an end, but we want to keep the energy alive. So thank you for making our time sweet together. So we have one more gift for you. Check your email. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but this is Sugar Wish. We want to send you off with a sweet treat. So check your email and you get to pick 2 of your favorite sweet treats from Sugar Wish. So if you guys haven't experienced this, it's really fun. Hope you guys like this. But from all of us here at Home Office to all of you, our partners in the field, we wish you the best for 2021. The year 2021, where we get her done, we wish you the best that 21 has all that it can be for you. Let's make it better than 2020. Let's kill it in 21. It's going to be an amazing year. We're not just going to survive, we're going to thrive. So from all of us to all of you, from our family to yours, to your teams, bye for now. We will talk to you all very, very soon. We've got our NEDs on Wednesday, and we'll see all of you at the beginning of February. Let's have an amazing close to January. We've got just a few more days for our 2021 kit. We can do this, 15K, almost there. We can do this, so let's keep it going. Thank you guys for everything you do. We cannot wait to see you very, very soon, and we cannot wait to see what you guys do in January. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.